A lot of people's consciousness is about the world happens to me and therefore I am a victim. And this new consciousness is, yes, the world can happen to you and you can choose to be a victim, or you can take full responsibility and use it to create a brand new life that you've always wanted.
I'm Luke, and you're listening to the Luke Mind Power Podcast. Welcome back to another episode on the Luke Mind Power Podcast. I'm in Manila. How crazy is that? In the Philippines. And this is serendipity. This is a fortunate accident, I want to call it, right? Everything happens for a reason, and I am really blessed to be in the presence of true greatness. I want to welcome Russ to the Luke Mind Power Podcast. He's an entrepreneur, speaker. He is someone who's being the change that we need. He's a coach as well, and he's going to bring some freaking fire to the Luke Mind Power Podcast. I've already heard him speak, so without any more words, I'm going to just welcome you. Welcome, Russ, to the Luke Mind Power Podcast.
Thank you. It's an honor and privilege, and I'm just happy to serve. I heard this fire. I like that word.
Yeah, man. As soon as I walked in here and you were still live, I saw some of your content, on Instagram, and I was like, yes, the energy is there, the fire is there. But the one thing that I do, even though I know that you're changing so many people's lives, you had to freaking change yourself first. You had to give to yourself. You had to pour into yourself first. So I'm curious, as I'm sure that everybody who's listening is like, who's Russ? What's he doing? How did he get to where he is at? And why you got so much passion and fire, man? Because that doesn't just, not everybody has that. And I can feel it. And I got it too, bro. So yeah, fill us in.
Yeah, the passion fire is really coming from pain in the past, okay, maybe trauma that may be seen as life's curse. And because of the life transformation, changing of mind, changing of consciousness, allowed me to live a life wherein I could not even imagine living the life today at 54 years old. Because I started my life with a lot of disadvantage, growing up with, in the 70s when your parents are separated. That's weird. I did not feel love from people who are supposed to love me. So that's different. I felt I was different. More than that, I felt not good enough in terms of, my school. I was always underachiever, and people like me is judged that I cannot go places simply because of all of this disadvantage in this world. So I was able to make a major turnaround, being able to really recreate, the most, devastating event in my life to turn it out as a blessing. And now I'm blessing more people, healing people through maybe the wounds that I was able to heal myself so I can heal more people. So the fire there really is because I went through this, and I know a lot of our audience is going through what I went through, and maybe through this podcast, through my story, they'll be able to heal themselves. That's where the fire is coming.
Do you think that technology and social media has made podcasting, sharing your information, sharing your story, something that's available now that wasn't 20 years ago? Because Tony Robbins was around. You know what I mean? He was around, but he was doing seminars. He was getting out there in person. Social media has changed that, right? And it seems, and it feels like there's so much more of this 20 years ago. Are we evolving? Is it, or has this always been around?
No. In fact, especially here in the Philippines, whatever we are talking about is a lot of people haven't accepted the fact that you can actually change your life. I mean, a lot of people's consciousness is about the world happens to me and therefore I am a victim. And this new consciousness is, yes, the world can happen to you and you can choose to be a victim, or you can take full responsibility and use it to create a brand new life that you've always wanted. And it all starts with, again, your podcast is about mind. It's about you taking control of your life when you start harnessing the power of the mind.
I like, it's all about the mind. It is. Everything is mental. I say life is a state of mind. If you change your mind, you change your whole life. You change your whole reality, right? Because your reality is basically your perception of what's happening up here, and that's what you manifest. Because you become what you think about, you become what you believe.
That's the whole truth of creating life when you now start to be aware of how you think. And basically, I like what you talk about podcasts because it's now available to a lot of people online. It's for free. Can you imagine? I receive 200, 300 messages every day, and most of them are suicidal. Most of them lost hope. And because of listening to like 1 minute content, 30 minutes content, change your life. Technology has helped people so much because of the message that's available to anyone.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people out there that say that, social media is toxic. Social media is bad, right? What you're sharing is the fact that the truth is what we're doing with social media is using it for a force of good.
Exactly. There can be a lot of dark side around it. At the same time, there's also a great side around it. So again, it's a choice that you need to be mindful, you need to be aware of what you're consuming, because what you consume becomes who you are. So therefore, part of my personal advocacy is be careful on what you watch, be careful on who you listen to, and therefore make sure that when you start watching something on social media, it has to be supportive of where you want to go versus just playing all the drama, playing all the victim stories, and it's not putting people where they're at. Remember, it all starts with what we feed.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you say to someone who has been through something so traumatic, like that is listening to this and going, yeah, but you don't understand, Russ. You don't understand what I've been through. You don't understand my pain. You don't understand what it feels like to be rejected or abused or hurt like that, to lose people, feeling grief, for example. That's something that's traumatic. What do you say to the people like that?
First things first, yes, I don't understand because I don't know what degree you went through in your life. However, if you remain the same thing, if you remain feeling victimized with all of these things that happened to you, my only question to you, if I were your coach, is where will life be like? Is this the life that you want? Or it's now time to refocus your life to what is it that you want to do? Which means, first things first, recognize the pain, but more than just recognizing the pain, release the pain energetically, meaning being able to just look at it as it no longer serves me, and therefore I want to, number one, accept the things that I cannot accept. Number two, maybe if it's painful experience of people who love us or who's supposed to love us, be compassionate, because we always hear hurt people. And maybe at that moment, you were the great, victim that they can throw into. But more than that, it's really the capacity to forgive and let go. Now you know this, it's time to take full control of your life. Meaning, if something happened in your life that things that you don't like, be responsible by choosing to release and let go and just bless it, because use this to move it to your next level. I mean, all of the things that I felt was a disadvantage in my life, when I look at it from a responsible point of view, it allowed me to be where I'm at right now. It prepared me, really. And all of the trauma, all of the pain, all of these things that I went through life, it prepared me to be where I'm at today. Meaning, I'm able to heal people because of the wounds I was able to heal myself.
Yeah, I always say that you can only help people to the level that you've helped yourself, to the depth that you've helped yourself, right? So what we're going through right now is basically an evolution. Some people like to say an awakening. Some people like to say, this is a journey of ascension, right? And part of the journey is to liberate yourself. Like, we're all in a process or on a journey of suffering, you could say, of, life is a journey of a lot of challenges. The truth is, and I was actually watching a documentary from Mark Manson. He's got the book that's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, right? And he was always talking about everybody thinks they're entitled. Everybody's living this entitled life that I should be successful and I should be this and I should be that, and expecting that life is supposed to be happy and joyful all the time. And the truth is, we shouldn't, because life is full of challenges, and you're supposed to overcome the challenges, because that's what makes you stronger. That's what builds your character. You can't deal, like I always say, you can't deal with the next level of your success unless you go through this journey.
Exactly.
Right? Because if you don't go through it, how do you expect to be able to deal with what's up ahead? You haven't gone through the process. Trust the process. Most people fail because it's too hard to go along the journey, right? Or they don't know how they're going to do it. Everyone wants to know all the answers, and it's like you're not supposed to know, right? Yep. As you go along the way will appear. It just goes one step at a time. So what do you say to people who feel like, because there's many people out there, you say, I get DMs from people that are wanting to commit suicide. They see one of the videos and they go, oh my God, I needed to see that. I get the same thing, right? And I don't think when you're not in that dark place or you haven't been like completely suicidal, I think it's very difficult, because I've had suicidal thoughts. There's a word that's suicidal ideation, right? And I remember, using cocaine and being, I wouldn't say it was dark, but I was just so out of my authenticity, my own self-awareness. I was high on that drug, right? And so there was the thought of that, but I never went deeper than that. But there's people out there that are suicidal to the point where like they're basically on the edge. And they're the ones that are messaging us saying, I was going to kill myself. And I'll be honest, like sometimes I don't realize the power that I have with what I'm doing and how much it affects someone's fucking life. How do you send a message to people to keep going, right? When it's that dark.
It's really having, an avenue where people feel safe, people are heard, because most of people who have the suicidal tendency is that they don't have someone to talk with. They don't have someone to express with. So what I normally do is to create that space for them, okay? By making sure that I serve them based on feeling safe, being able to express who they are, but at the same time being able to feel heard. So first things first is let's look at environment. And the work that I do is to really create a space wherein they feel safe around it so that they can express what's really going on without feeling judged.
Yes. Do you find that it's easier for women to be vulnerable than men?
I think it's almost the same as long as they feel safe with the environment. Every time I have, once a week ask Russ avenue wherein people just come in there, hey, no names, no camera, and then I start talking, start getting themselves coached. And it's the same, men and women, as long as they feel safe, then they'll be very vulnerable. In fact, once a week I have a huge coaching class, sometimes 100, 150. Men are more vulnerable. Men are more open to express how they feel than women. That's what I actually start to realize, that it's not about men or women, but it's about creating a space wherein people feel safe to be real, to be honest, and at the same time, not allowing the drama to be bigger than who they are deep inside.
Yeah, because I think that is the biggest challenge. And you're right, because I experienced this with my coaching as well, that creating a safe space and having an environment that will foster more love, compassion, and the right support. I say when someone's joining one of my programs, I say that, what you're doing right now is you're flapping your wings, but you're not going anywhere. And I said, this is the space and the environment where we are the wind beneath your wings so you can fly again. Because we're all born to fly, But in the fear of not falling, you will never fly.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's really taking a look at all of these things that's going on in the life, is that if we take a look at on how people were raised by traditional parents, it's all about fear-based, doubt-based, and worry-based. So we were all wired up to live in fear, doubt, and worry. And people cannot get away from that simply because it's too real for them that they make it a reality. And therefore, that's what's really holding people back in creating the results, creating the life that they deserve, simply because there's too much fear. There's too much doubt, there's too much worry. And that's maybe, a sign for light workers like us to support them into a certain level of awareness that fear, doubt, and worry, it's just a state of mind. And all you have to do is, right now there's a lot of support system who can help them, like mentors, like coaches, like the work that you do online can help a lot of people move up from where they are, but not just moving up, but being able to make sure that they're also flying, giving them muscles,
Absolutely.
the wind, so they can do the same to other people.
Absolutely. That's why this is fulfilling, because you're being of service. And obviously I say, I learned this from Lisa Nichols, fill your cup and fill yourself up so much that you're overflowing. And then give. When you give from your overflow, but you have to take care of you first.
Exactly.
Right? A lot of people are trying to, as this is another analogy from Lisa Nichols, she said, we are trying to take everyone through the doorway with us before we've healed, before we've grown, before we've reached our peak, right? And what we're really supposed to do, the doorway was only meant for us, for you, by yourself. And then once you get to where you're supposed to be, then you can bring people with you and say, hey, I can help you, right? So
the people who needs our help, they're not aware that they're actually in the self-destructive mode, meaning they live their life based on self-destruction. Starts with what? Resentment. This happened, I'm entitled to this. The resentment becomes what? Resistance. Okay, and the resistance becomes revenge. But the revenge is not about the situation or other people, but that revenge is against me. Then I live a life of regrets. Then we move self-destruction, self-love. So I love Lisa Nichols because she's simply just allowing you to know that your only job, your only priority is to fill your cup every day, so that when you serve people who you need to serve, it's just an overflow.
absolutely.
And you don't even know that you're missing something because it's just an overflow of what I did. I mean, that's the type of, I should say, people who we want to elevate from self-destructive mode to self-love.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about self-love because I'm very passionate about that. But you know what? But I think that Russ, you're practicing a lot of self-love because you're beaming, and I can see with your energy and you said, and guys, if you were paying attention and listening, he said he's 54. And when we were talking before the podcast, I said, you're 34. Right? Obviously, I was pulling his leg because I like to give good compliments, all right? But when he said 54, I was like, nah, man, no way, right? Yeah. So you look a lot younger than your age, you do. And I know I get it as well. But what are you doing to maintain your vibrancy, your energy? Like, what do you do to protect your energy, to be powerful, to show up the way that you do? Because when I walked in and I heard you speaking, right, you said you've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning, so you're hustling, bro. And if you want to be showing up like that and be giving, then you got to be taking care of yourself, man. So how do you take care of yourself?
I'll tell you, my ultimate non-negotiable is self-love. And the way I do that, it begins with my night routine, which means every night, okay, I make sure, 80 or 90% of my week, I'm in my bed by 10 p.m. or earlier. And then, but before I go to sleep, no social media, no TV, but I sit down in a quiet place and I call it meditation for 20 minutes.
Right.
Every day for the past 4 years, I have not missed my 4 a.m., 5 a.m. meditation. That is my only non-negotiable. And then after my 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. meditation, I make sure I work out, I do the yoga, I do my learning. So can you imagine between 4 a.m. all the way to 8 a.m., it's 4 hours self-love,
me time,
care, everything.
Wow.
So that when I'm out there in the world, it's just overflowing. I mean, can you imagine? I've been talking since my first meeting was 5 a.m. To the time you came in here, and I can still do this in the next 5 hours.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. I'm inspired.
Schedule self-care, self-love, and it's my non-negotiable. That's the biggest thing that I would always tell people. The reason why you are where you are, simply because you forget about yourself. You forget about taking care of yourself. And I would always say it's extreme self-care. Ultimate number one priority, because when you care for yourself, you grow yourself, you expand yourself, you're able to care for other people, you're able to expand other people business, and it just overflows.
Russ, are you married?
I'm single.
And do you have kids?
I have partner. We've been together for like 16 years.
Yep.
And no kids, but I have more than 300 people in my team who are like my children.
Yeah.
They call me. We play around. I have, teenagers who I mentor just like my children.
That's
Their
awesome.
problem becomes my problem.
No, it's not. There's, I believe everyone's in their own lane, and I feel like living my purpose and the people that I serve is family. My clients, everyone who follows me on social media, that's how I treat them. When I write my captions, I say, I love you. I say, we got this, right? We're in this together, right? It's not about me separating myself and being, hey, I'm greater than you, because that's not the case. I'm just doing me and I'm living in my purpose, right? And I'm being the change. So, that kind of mindset is like, there's no judgment on whether you have kids or anything like that. But yeah, it's really living in alignment and doing what feeds your soul. So what is the most important rule so far in your journey of success that you've achieved that you feel is like number one?
Number one for me is really being able to embrace who truly I am. And I would always say I am a spiritual being in a human experience. Again, from Wayne Dyer.
Yep.
That if I start nurturing and feeding my soul, that's where I get to realize my full potential. So I'm at the point in my life wherein no amount of material possession or money can make me happier.
How did you learn that?
I went through a lot of space wherein I earned a lot.
Yep.
Up until now.
Yep.
And I realized that it's not about time freedom or money freedom that is the absolute joy to be in. It's what we call fulfillment, which means being able to feel good about myself, especially when I am by myself. So, which means, am I okay with me? When I look at the mirror, do I like what I see? When I'm with people, do I enjoy being with them because I enjoy being with me? And I guess that is what money cannot buy, being able to be at peace and just enjoy every moment of my life. Whether I get what I want or I don't get what I want, doesn't matter anymore, because I am truly happy with who I am, and I continue to nurture that and continue to grow that and create that deep, meaningful relationship with myself.
Powerful stuff, man. Powerful stuff. You were talking about money before we started this podcast, and you were saying that don't worry about the money. Don't focus on the money, right? Focus on growth. Focus on becoming, evolving, becoming a better version. I always say you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So it's about developing your character, becoming more confident, right? What do you think is blocking people from becoming more confident and from actually stepping into their power?
Again, there's a lot of blocks, starting with mental state. And the mental state here is being able to just see that I think 90 or 95% of humanity lives in a place wherein the world happens to me and I'm a victim. I cannot do it. I cannot do anything around it except to feel victimized around. That's the first block. It's about the mindset. Okay. By accident, people move from that kind of thinking to maybe the awakening stage. We're talking about the awakening. And the awakening here is whatever happens to you, you can choose to be a victim, or you can use that to move you to your next level. Either or is your choice. And I would always say that when people starts to be awakened, that they have responsibility to, number one, grow and develop themselves mentally. Number two, having that clear heart set, meaning you don't carry any baggages, carry any blame, any anger, any guilt, any shame. That's the second job. But third, foremost, is also making sure that you start taking care of your health set. Start taking care of, you don't have to grow old and look old, but you can actually grow old and still be very young because you start taking care of it. But above all, if it's money that you want, make sure that you equip yourself with the knowledge, skills, experience of that business set. But more than that, the fifth element for me, which will allow me, to transcend to a bigger exponential game in whatever I want to create, whether it's health, it's money, it's relationship, is what I call the soul set or spiritual set. So these are the 5 areas that people can explore. People can start, working on themselves so that whatever they do in their life, it's just going to be how they want it because they're responsible with them. So which means if I'm growing personally, I'm growing spiritually, I'm growing in terms of, again, my business, and I bring this to my family, I bring this to my friends, I bring this to my business, everything else is growing around.
Have you ever felt like giving up?
Never. You want to know why? There's a lot of people need the work that we do. I mean, a lot of people are drowning. A lot of people are living a life of misery, but they're not even aware they have a choice. And therefore, the work doesn't stop until I die. Giving up is not an option. In fact, firing up is what I truly want to do in my life. I every day I have like 4 or 5 hours sleep. Not because I work in my business. I don't work in my business, actually. Business is running after me. But I work through being able to think about people who needs our help. We always say, ask, what's your deepest why? Why do you do what you do? The first why level layer is to provide for the needs of people who I love. And if that's your only why, then I have respect for you.
Do you have a balance with that? Like you provide for the people that you love, but also take care of us?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It has to be me.
Yeah.
People who I love. But the second way is to again provide for my people who I love with their dreams and aspirations.
Yeah.
Once that is good for me already, but I want to move to the third level is to help others achieve, create the life that you have created, the life that you have achieved. So that's never ending.
Yep.
But above all, if today's the day wherein, God says, time is up for you, Russ, the question here is this the life that I want a third one?
Yeah, absolutely. And, this journey can be overwhelming. I think anyone's journey of growth, success, change is uncomfortable.
It is.
And what we're really stuck in is real emotional conditioning and mental conditioning, programming from everything that we've known, right? To then stepping out and going, no, I'm going to change. How do you help people to deal with the judgment that comes from your family, your friends, and the people that you love? Because knowing that when you evolve, guess what? There's rejection, there's opinions, and people are afraid of change and growth because they're comfortable and it's unfamiliar. I remember when I was growing and my mum was freaking out. I was having arguments with her where I was hanging up the phone, because she was telling me to do things and I was just not aligning with what I believed in. We're good now, but there was a lot of people that I had to let go of, right? And I also knew that there was judgment that came with that, but I don't focus on that. I was just focusing on my soul, which was always speaking to me, which it spoke to me a week and a half ago. That's why I'm here, because I felt that I'm being limited where I'm at, that I need to get out there. I need to surround myself with people like Russ. I need to move, I can't stay in the same place. And I felt this in 2019. I went to Chicago for 3 months because I was like, I need to get out of Australia. I need to leave. I need to leave my family. I need to leave everyone because I need to know who I am, not who my family wants me to be, right? Not who the world wants me to be, not who my friends have influenced me to be. Who am I? So it's stepping out of everything you've ever known. But how do you deal with the opinions of others, the detachment? It's painful, man. And that's one of the main reasons why people don't become successful or don't live their dreams, their full potential, because they give a shit so much about what Tom said and what Jessica's talking about.
You're right about the biggest blocks for many people is what they call your theory of space. What does it mean? The space where you are at, where you live, where you breathe, people who you surround with will determine whether you're going to expand or grow yourself. And maybe the bigger question here is where you are located, who you hang around with. Will this bring you to a life you always want, you dream about, or you remain the same or even going backwards? That's a bigger question you want to ask. But the most important part here is you do nothing, people will judge you. You do something, people will judge you. So in the end, I would always say, of course, especially with people who we love and respect them from afar.
Oh yeah, I love people from a distance. I don't have any hate because all I have is love for myself. And I always say, you can't give what you don't have, right? And all I have is self-love. All I have is love within myself, which means that's all I have to give. My job, I cannot justify because the law of karma as well. What you give is what you get, right? And if you're going to hate on people, or you're going to put out bad energy out there into the universe, guess what? It comes back to you because that's what you're focusing on. What you focus on expands. So, right? But this is the challenge that most people are living with, is the fear, the consequences, right? Of maybe up until now, and somebody's listening right now, and this is their life. Maybe right now, the life that I've chosen to live is not the life that I was supposed to live. And because of the time that they've invested into whatever it is that they're doing or they've created, there's an emotional attachment. You're connected. It's hard for you to see anything else, but you know deep down, right? Deep down, you know the truth.
Yep.
And what do we say about the truth? The truth will set you free. But it's so hard. And so I'm just like, sometimes you have to go through a journey that's wrong for a period of time before you realize that it's wrong. It hurts enough.
Exactly.
But why can't we wake people up earlier? That's what I'm thinking about myself. And I'm like, but Russ, if I went back to when I was 25, I had to learn. I had to get heartbroken. I had to be rejected. I had to go through all these experiences. So would I have benefited from Luke Mind Power going back to my 25-year-old self and saying, Luke, you are more powerful than you can imagine?
It really depends on taking a look at a new belief system around you have to go through pain for you to learn, right? And we call that in the seminar, we have such thing as Satorai, which is instant awakening. Listening to this, you don't have to go through the pain I went through because you've heard it.
That's right.
And you learned it.
That's right.
Satorai. Yeah. But there's also Kensho. Kensho is go through pain. I would always say that whatever is going on in my life or everyone's lives is perfect in their destination as long as they're able to be self-aware. Because if you don't have self-aware, you will live life as if 67 years old, they say, this is life. Because you live life without awareness. And therefore, awareness is a key, vital, important to people who want to create the life that they want, simply because you're right. A lot of people are living their life by chance, which means I was born in Australia, and this is the world I grew up with, and that's it.
Yeah.
Versus, okay, I was born in Australia, but you know what? I haven't seen a bigger world, explore this. Then now I have a capacity to make a choice and tell myself whether I like this or not. But the first thing you need to get out is your comfort zone, which I always call the shitty zone. Because it's not really comfortable. We just, cover it up with sugar coating is comfort. It's not
yeah.
But before you go out, the next zone will be danger zone. And I think the biggest danger here is I will make mistake and I will fail, or people will laugh about me for going for my dream, for honoring who truly I am. And people who are my friends, who I have so much emotional attachment, will have to, laugh, will have to judge me. Am I willing to go through that? And I think that's the biggest danger in life. Am I willing to commit mistakes or fail, do it anyway, because I know what I really want? Or am I willing for people to judge me, for people who I love to dislike me simply because I start to honor what I want, who truly I am?
Absolutely. Powerful. Now, one of the most important parts of your success, and I already know this because I'm listening to what you're saying, you invest in yourself. Exactly. Okay? I know. And in order for you to grow, you have to invest in yourself. Whether that's financial investment or whether it's you spending hours and hours and hours and hours of listening to podcasts or motivational speeches on YouTube or whatever it is for you, going to seminars. what have you done? Who have you learned from? You obviously Lisa Nichols. You said Ken Sher, that's Mind Valley. So tell us a little bit about
Met
what.
Lisa Nichols twice at A-Fest. So I started my career as a janitor simply because my grades wasn't supportive enough for me to get in a good job. One thing for sure, I met personal development at age 21.
21.
Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine I don't know how to speak like this English. I only have 5 sentences before. So that's where I realized that if I want to change my life, I need to start developing myself. So part of that, I stumbled upon network marketing. And in network marketing, you're on your own, right? So they gave me some audiobooks. And then I heard Zig Ziglar. I heard Anthony Robbins. I heard all of these gurus. I think I devoured a lot of time, energy, even bought CDs in the US just to have, learning materials that I think up until now, since 21, up until now, I still spend an hour or 2 or 3 every day to listen. But more than that, I think I value pay to learn. So I pay every seminar I see. I go to the States once, twice a year to look for seminars. This year, I'm going to Sadhguru's Isha in India.
Beautiful.
Just to really expand and experiment and learn what else is out there, so I can serve me, I can feed me, I can grow me, so I can serve the world.
Yeah.
So a huge investment. Up until now, I have mentors. I hire coaches. I believe that if money is what you want, how are you taking care and investing in the money machine?
Which is yourself.
Exactly. So if you don't start paying yourself, and maybe your value here is to drive a very nice car, okay, buy a most expensive watch, they don't grow. I'd rather spend a lot of money with me, because if just in case I lose everything I have, hallelujah. Because now I'm excited that I have maybe access not only to my millions, but maybe I have now access to my billions, because everything I built upon is not external, it's internal.
Absolutely. And that's why, there's stories out there that I've heard that, people have become ultra successful and lost it all. And then within 12 months, they made it back. And that's all the evidence that you need to know, that it's not about the external, it's about who you are.
The scary part about people is they spend a lot of time, energy, and effort for, things that may give them instant pleasure, but in the long run, it's all negative return. Most people spend their time, energy, and effort in their business. Nothing wrong. The business may grow or may not grow, but the scary part here is they never grow. You take away their business, they're gone.
Yep.
I'd rather spend time, energy, and a lot of money for my own growth to expand my consciousness, because whether my business grow or my business fails, doesn't matter. Why? I grow, I learn, and use it for my next adventure.
I've got a good one for you right now. And I've had many clients that are very successful, but they're hurt. And you think about it, because I believe that the more that you have within yourself, the more unlimited, unstoppable, unbreakable you are. The more you continue to expand within yourself, the more your external will expand. Again, it's not focusing on materialistic, but it's focusing on growing. And as you grow as a person, everything else grows, right? But do you believe that, because you've heard stories of billionaires committing suicide, right? Doesn't matter how much money you have, you still end up necking yourself because it's not enough, because you always end up short, right? So what I believe, and let me know your thoughts, that once you fix this, everything else falls into place. And that's where you can actually reach heights that you've never been able to reach before. Even if you're successful right now, you're still limited because of your insecurities, your pain, your trauma, whatever, because you're living on a fear-based mindset.
Proving, love me, accept me. At age 35, I was at the peak of my career, and I didn't know I was suicidal. And I went through a lot of support, and that's where I met my first life coach. And I realized the reason I was very successful is because I was running after external factor, but hiding all the pain, all the agony, all the childhood trauma that I wasn't even aware that was part of my adulthood. So what got me to be where I'm at right now, whether I have money or not, I'm still happy, I'm still excited about life, I'm still fulfilled simply because I was not only focusing on external things, but I guess the most beautiful thing that you can focus on is what's inside. But what's inside are all the pain, are all the trauma, are all the things that's holding people back. We need to start looking into the heart set, recognizing what was that about, releasing it energetically, but looking at it as a blessing, looking at it as something I can, expand and grow myself in. And I always say, if people don't live a meaningful life simply because maybe they use their pain to make them successful, but it was never to heal them from that pain so that they can heal other people. So not unless I started becoming aware of that was part of my journey and look at it as an adult point of view that it happened already and I cannot do anything around it. But the most important part here is to be able to release it, thank it, bless it, and use that event, use that pain, use that agony that was in the past so I can heal more people. And that's where the most beautiful part is. That no amount of money can pay for it, no amount of whatever external that I want to trade off, except the feeling of being able to stand in my calling, stand in my mission, stand in my purpose. And this is the most beautiful part, Luke. If money is what you want, just do your calling, make it big, support more people, money will run after you.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. Very powerful. Now, one thing I know is that you love nature.
Very much.
And you showed me some videos before this interview of your place in the forest or wherever it is. Why is it so important for you, and what do you gain from being so connected? I saw you swimming in the waterfalls, and the water there looks beautiful. And what is that place for you? What does it do for you?
Nature really reminds us as to who we are as a creation of God, as a creation of the universe, that we are limitless. Okay? We are able to just grow and propagate however we want it, because we don't judge nature. So but when we are one with nature, especially what I love to do is walk barefoot every day. I'm able to ground myself, to connect myself to that I'm one, I'm united, and when what keeps people worried is, okay, I'm better than you, you're better than me. Nature, there's no competition. It's just all collaborations. It's really supporting people, supporting myself, to remind myself who I am as a creation of Almighty, as creation of God or the universe. Then that's what I bring into my life to anyone and everyone who I meet. So it really is a must for a lot of people to go back to nature, okay, and be at peace with nature, because you're part of the nature.
One thing that we can learn from is that nature always grows. And
Limitless.
yeah, it's always growing. So
I love waterfalls.
Yeah.
Simply because it's been there for billions of years.
Yep.
Overflowing no matter what. And that's a reminder that I can be a waterfall. I can just overflow and overflow without thinking of scarcity, because that's where abundance, that it grows, it expands, it's never-ending, limitless capacity of who we are as a human being. That's comparable to nature. But what's stopping us from creating what we want is, again, our limited thinking, because, again, maybe we were all wired up to be like machine. Like, okay, produce 3,000. Versus like a tree, you'll never know how many fruit will it bear year after year after year, and the fruit becomes another tree, and the tree becomes another tree. Then you start building your own forest. That's a mindset of abundance. That's a mindset of growth. And nature reminds us to not be afraid, because there's always unlimited supply of whatever you want.
Powerful stuff, man. It's amazing to hear you speak, and and know how much you're changing people's lives because you change yourself, because you work on yourself, because you show up for yourself, because it sounds to me like you are your own best friend. You enjoy your own company. You like yourself.
This is what I heard. The reason why there are a lot of people who's lonely because they hate the person who they are alone with.
Yeah. I know. And but that bothered me when I first looked at myself in the mirror, because the course that helped me change my life, because I had to do the work, was Speak and Inspire with Lisa Nichols on Mind Valley. And the exercise of doing the mirror work and looking at myself in the mirror, that was what changed, because I was there looking at myself and I wasn't comfortable. And if you think about this, and for anyone who's listening, the fact that you can go and look at yourself in the mirror right now and feel uncomfortable to stand there and look into your own eyes and tell yourself that you're proud of yourself, that you love yourself, that you forgive yourself, that you've got things that you're trying to focus on. Like, you can't even if you can't have a conversation with yourself and you're uncomfortable, that is a huge sign that you're disconnected completely. And when I went through that, I basically got angry. I got upset. I got really angry with the fact that I wasn't comfortable with myself. And I was like, that's bullshit, And so I went on this mission to establish a relationship with myself, to have my own back, to be my own best friend, to be my biggest fan, right? So that when I'm alone, I'm never alone, because I'm not a nothing, right? I enjoy my own company, and anybody who adds value to that is a bonus. That's healthy. That inspires you, that motivates you, that can help you become a better version of yourself, right? So it sounds to me like you're there.
I think it's really understanding the practice of the 5 love language. I am unable to give that to others if I am not naturally giving it to myself. Like affirmation. Okay, so again, people loves affirmation, except they don't get it a lot. Why? Because they don't give it a lot to them. Yeah, so that's the mirror work. Okay. Quality and quantity of time. I mean, the reason why I want to be up by 4 a.m. all the way to 8 a.m. because that's 4 hours of my time.
Absolutely.
Gifts, which means a lot of people are more comfortable giving gifts to people that they love, but giving them gifts to themselves is not something that they like. That's really strange. Okay. Kindness, meaning, a lot of people are so critical, are so, unforgiving about themselves. And that's really scary for most people, simply because, again, we were all wired up to be, don't do that, don't do all critical thinking. But above all, being able to just really see how you're able to support yourself with great physical touch for yourself, like you having massage once a week, sa mat. But also being able to do something with your body physically. So when you see yourself, you know that you have taken care of yourself, you've nurtured yourself. Then, when you look at the mirror, that's the person who I love. That's the person who I like. Sometimes, I grew up very critical about myself. I hated everything around me, even the way I looked with.
Why? And where did that come from? Who bullied you? Who called you what names? Was anything external, or was it yourself?
The external. Like, I grew up the only fat kid in town, very dark skin. I did not feel approved of people around me. And because I did not feel approved of people around me, then I started hating myself. That's what I realized when I was at the verge of, praying every night, God, take away my life, simply because I hated myself a lot. The same thing, it felt so scary. Look at the mirror and sing to yourself, you're my peace of mind in this crazy world. Everything I tried to find. That was so scary. And it's a practice that I just get over. And right now, I think I become perfect parent for the inner child that has been longing for that love, acceptance, unconditional.
That's beautiful, man. I'm proud. I'm proud of you, man, and I'm really happy for you. It's basically what you're doing, and this is what I believe everybody should practice: is reparenting yourself, giving yourself what you needed when you were younger. If you didn't receive the love, if you didn't receive something, if you were rejected, or you didn't feel appreciated, or you didn't get that approval or support or encouragement or whatever it was, it's not too late to give that to yourself.
I realized because of this awareness, it has nothing to do with my parents because they have their own stuff.
Oh, I was blaming mine a couple of years ago. Yeah, man. And
because you were not aware.
Yeah, I was heavy into that, man.
That's why our job here is to put people to a certain level of awareness that people are just doing the best way they know how based on their level of capacity. Based on their level.
Exactly.
And if that's my thinking right now, then I'll be more accepting with people. I'll be more compassionate with people. But above all, my level of forgiveness expands because my happiness, my success is no longer about how they treat me, how the world is going on. But it's me taking full responsibility with my life. And that's where I can create life that I always want.
Absolutely. Tell us what you're doing with people and how you're changing their lives. You got events, you're doing these
a lot of seminars.
Yeah. And what are they about? Like what is it?
Okay, we have level 1. It's called Discovery. Discovery is a 2-day personal mastery program wherein you get to discover who you truly are.
Yep.
And it's also healing the inner child. Okay, and that's a first part that I would always say with those 2 days, it changed people's lives. In fact, the talk I had was somebody took my seminar like 10 years ago, said, remember, the reason why he's bringing 300 of his people is because he wanted me to do discovery in his own organization because it changed his life. So that's the first one. Second part, we call it Breakthrough. It's a 3 days dark side. So discovery is knowing who you are on the light side.
Yep.
But there's also dark side of you. So it's intense, it's gory, it's all about facing the deepest, darkest part of who you are. Not to relive it, but to acknowledge it happened, energetically let it go. But look at it as another point of view wherein that has to happen for me to move to my next level. Okay? And then I have level 3, which is abundance. It's a 60 days to 90 days coaching program wherein you get to practice what you've learned, how great you are, and how you can use your dark side to move you to your next level. Then when you're done with it, then you can start working with other people, supporting other people. So people just, bring in people. I don't remember advertising. I don't remember selling seminar, but my seminar is just filled in with people week after week because of people took it and people got a lot of value around it, so they start bringing in people. So that's the program I'm doing right now.
That's amazing, man. Congratulations.
And the best part around it is it's not my main bread and butter. I have other businesses that's supporting me financially. So whether I make money from my coaching or seminar business, it doesn't matter. But the most beautiful part here, it's creating a lot so I can actually build more of space like this. In the next 3 years, I'm putting up a transformational camp wherein maybe we can bring in 300 to 500 people in a camp, like maybe an A Fest for a different type. So really creating that space for more people to have a safe environment wherein they are able to express themselves freely. However, moving forward, momentum is what they want.
Amazing. I'm excited for you. Yeah, and I know you can do it. It's powerful stuff.
It's on its way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really felt when I was reaching out to you that I completely, for some reason, just didn't even think about it. And then when I reached out to you, I was like, you know what? There is so much potential here. One of the things, obviously, is that, a lot of Filipinos speak English.
Yeah.
And in other Asian countries, they don't. So you're being the change that the Filipinos need, man. Like,
I'm going to claim that.
Yeah, bro. But
in fact,
but the potential is like ridiculously massive. It's not 300-500 people. You know?
100 million.
Yeah.
100 million.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's something that
Are you ready for that kind of responsibility?
I am preparing myself. I am preparing my organization, and I am working towards that big ambition to see 100 million or more Filipinos change their minds, change their consciousness around poverty versus abundance, victim versus I'm responsible. But above all, it's about forward-moving momentum that Filipino deserves the best life because we are also world-class.
Absolutely.
I believe.
Absolutely.
Except the mindset.
The mindset. It's all, yeah. You can sit there and think like, you know, and it's just a victim mindset. It's a low negative mindset. It's what everybody's always known themselves to be, right? And you're stepping up and showing and being the leader, man, being the light that the Filipinos need, man. So it's absolutely, I'm excited for you because that's all it is. It's a shift in the way you think to realize, no, I'm intelligent, I'm capable, I can learn, I can become better, right? I don't have to stay and be the same as the past. And before you know it, a lot's changed.
I'm excited. I mean, the energy that I carry right now, the grind I have is really just looking for one opportunity, another opportunity to expand my work. I'm just 1 year in my online asset, and it's been creating a lot of ripples already. So give it like 5 years, 10 years.
Absolutely. Trust the process and don't skip the process. Yeah, I've said that lately as well. I'm like, I'm not in a rush. I said, I know that there's a process. In order for me to get to the next level, I have to keep growing. I have to keep going through the lessons. I have to keep being challenged. I have to keep dealing with shit. I have to keep getting overwhelmed sometimes and going, freaking hell, I've got to do this. Like before I came, one of my staff members was waiting and I was like 1, 2, 3, 4. There was like 7, 8, 9 different things I was trying to do at the same time, you know? And I was like, freaking hell, I was getting a bit frustrated, but that's part of the process. You know, and again, I always come back and say, hey, if you're getting overwhelmed with whatever you're going through in your life, remember that you can't focus on the whole staircase, just focus on the first step. Break it down, you know, and you can't drift to the top of the mountain. You can only climb there. So you're going to keep climbing. I know you are. I'm going to keep climbing, but I'm so grateful that you said yes, because if anything is going to change in your life, it's because you say yes. If an opportunity is going to come into your life, it's because you say yes. If you're going to transform your life, you have to say yes. And you could have easily gone, I don't know who this Luke Mindpower guy is, you know, but you said yes, man. And I really appreciate your energy, your time, your wisdom, everything that you've shared with us today. And I know that you're going to change this country, man. I can feel it.
Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate this talk. I appreciate you coming over. And yeah, who knows, you know, one of these days you're going to come back or I may visit Australia. I did like three works in Australia in the past. So
yeah, the journey's the journey's unpredictable. I'm actually in the process of relocating to Dubai. So I've lived in Australia all my life, but you know, you follow your soul, follow the calling, follow the feeling. Where? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was there last January.
Yeah.
For 15 days.
I mean, the world is here for us to explore, but it's not here to be limiting us, you know? So where can people find you, Russ? Where website, Instagram?
No, it's just RUSSJUSON. That's it. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, TikTok. I have a website. It's RUSSJUSON.
Amazing. Russ, it's been a pleasure. It's been a blessing. I appreciate you, man. And I know that we're going to do some big things, man. So thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Been amazing.
Thank you for joining me on this journey of self-discovery and growth. If you're ready to grow and reach your full potential and find inner peace, send me a DM that says, I want inner peace, and I'll send you the next steps. You can accomplish anything you set your mind to. When you change your mind, you change your whole life. So don't hesitate and send that DM over to me. Myself and my team can't wait to meet you and witness your transformation in full glory. See you next week.